Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It's a very rainy Monday morning. This is a voiceover because there's a clip that I want to go through. It's Cassie's turn to be on a lead this morning because she found a dead pigeon and she was playing with it, and yeah, so I'm walking her away from it. Okay, we need to talk about Kiely Rodni's mother and the comments that she made about social media at Kiely's celebration of life gathering on Saturday. A lot of people have talked about it, but I want to put my 2 pence in. I think this is a very important thing to consider, not just for Kiely's case, but for social media in general in relation to the true crime community, the family of missing people and murdered people, deceased people who've died due to crime that we in the true crime community talk about. You know, at what point do we go too far, I guess. So let's get into it. Let me be very clear why I'm making this video. It is not to bash Kiely's mother or Kiely's family in general. It isn't to bash any grieving family at all. It's to point out simply some of the issues that have arisen due to what Kiely's mother said on Saturday at Kiely's Celebration of Life event. She made this statement to the press, and it's specifically her comments towards social media that I want to talk about. I'm just going to be concentrating on the last minute of this statement. It was a very short statement, less than 4 minutes. Let's hear what she's got to say.
In closing, I want to thank our media friends for respecting our request to give us privacy while we celebrate my daughter today. Unfortunately, the social media frenzy has become such a monster that our teens are suffering.
Okay. This has become quite high profile on social media. There are a lot of YouTube channels and people on Twitter, people on Facebook, in Facebook groups, on Reddit, who are talking about Kiely and her case. I can sympathise with her being frustrated, upset, dismayed even, by some of the theories that have come out in relation to Kiely. You know, that Kiely isn't a real person, that everybody's an actor and this is a psyop. I'm referring specifically here to Ryan Upchurch. I don't know whether Ryan is playing clever with making statements like that. I've seen him on a lot of panels, and my opinion changes regularly of Ryan when I hear him speak. But I understand why Kiely's family might be upset. You know, if they're watching social media and they're seeing these things, whatever the intention is, it's not pleasant. But the teens, now we know that she supported Sammy and the friends that were involved in those teen meetings. When she spoke at one of the community meetings that law enforcement set up when Kiely was missing, she hugged Sammy at that event, and she's made statements before that she supports them. And this concerns me greatly because we don't know. In my opinion, I feel now that it's likely that law enforcement are going to just say this is a tragic accident and not look any further. The way that they've reacted towards the finding of the evidence, that Check It TV, and there's been another diver out there, at the request of Kiely's dad. Now, Kiely's mother and father are not together. I don't know what the relationship is like between Kiely's mother and father. It was addressed in a letter that was released by the family that Kiely has 2 fathers. So I'm guessing that the stepfather, I believe his name's Tony, has had, you know, an impact on Kiely's upbringing, that he's been there for her, he's acted like a father. And that doesn't take anything away from Kiely's bio dad whatsoever. We saw touchingly how Gabby Petito's parents came together. Nicole Schmidt and Joe Petito have been a joint force in getting justice for Gabby. We've seen Gabby's stepfather and stepmother be heavily involved in the Gabby Petito Foundation and standing with their respective partners. I don't see that in this case. I've never seen Kiely's biological mother and father together, so I'm assuming that there's some animosity there. I might be completely wrong. It's just my assumption. But it was Kiely's dad who was there on the show when Adventures with Purpose found Kiely's car and obviously Kiely inside. And also Kiely's grandpa. Now, Kiely's grandpa that we've seen, David, he's actually Lindsay's father. So Lindsay being Kiely's mother. So both sides of the family were there represented when Adventures with Purpose were there. And Kiely's dad has been there at Prosser Reservoir while these dives have been going on. And Kiely's grandpa has been involved in that. And Kiely's mother hasn't, to my knowledge. Now, look, everybody grieves differently. I'm in the same club as Kiely's family. It's a club that no parent or grandparent should ever be in. That is losing a child to crime, specifically we're talking about here. No parent or grandparent should ever experience that kind of loss. But we have, and unfortunately, families all over the world will continue to lose their children to crime. And everybody grieves differently. There's no right or wrong way to grieve, but there are healthy and unhealthy ways to grieve. And it concerns me that Kiely's mother might be burying her head in the sand a little bit regarding the teens. That she wants to think well of them, which is nice, it's kind, but I said this in a video when Sammy was out there doing the teen meetings. I made a comment in a video, I can't even remember which video, saying that I hope that she isn't betrayed. I hope that one of the teens, whether it be Sammy or another one of the teens, could be responsible for Kiely's death. And Lindsay is going to be mortified. And her grieving process is going to be horrendous. Horrendous as it is now, but even more horrendous. That it appears, at least in public, that she's supporting the teens and she's not questioning. She's not questioning whether any one of them might have had an involvement in Kiely's death. Now, she might have spoken to law enforcement. She might know more than the public does about Kiely's death. She might be aware at this point that they are going to rule it a tragic accident. Or she might be just hoping that that is the case. But I think she's being naive in trusting these teens. I really do. And that worries me. It worries me for her.
And we want to create a safe space for them to heal together without fear of something being taken out of context.
The true crime community does this. You know, we analyse statements to the nth degree, and to families who are grieving, to people who are innocent, who get embroiled, who get questioned by social media. Sometimes I wonder whether we've crossed the line from a healthy discussion to targeting particular people who are innocent. But there's nothing wrong with questioning. There's nothing wrong with theorising. There's nothing wrong with speculating. We've got to just do it sensitively and bear in mind that the majority of people that we in the social media world consider suspects are not suspects. But there's so many troubling things about Kiely's case that it's understandable that us, the public, question what we see. Is it possible that Lindsay is being very blinkered and not seeing what we see? And again, that troubles me. Now, the majority of these teens who were at this party may not know anything about what happened to Kiely, genuinely. They may not know what happened to Kiely. But it's my concern that some of them do. Some of them know more. And whether that's Sammy or Jagger or Kate or somebody else, you know, there's a few names out there now. You know, there's the Nates, someone called Philip. There's a number of people being looked at by social media. And that's not wrong. But yeah, I acknowledge, where is that line? Where is it? It's a very fine line.
To anyone who gains pleasure or satisfaction from commenting online, I ask you to take a moment to look inward and to try to recognize your motive.
I can only speak for myself in this, but my motive in investigating, in discussing, in commenting on any true crime case is to question what happened. First and foremost, it's raising awareness. But when red flags and things jump out at you, people are going to question whether they've got a YouTube channel or whether they're just commenting on Twitter or commenting on comment sections in newspapers. People will be curious. People will want to understand what happened. That's human nature. In understanding what happened in a crime, it gives you a heads up to what to avoid in future. It's an evolutionary mechanism. Guys, let's get deep here. It's an evolutionary mechanism. We all question. It's called attribution theory. We all question the causes of events, especially when they are unusual or traumatic or sudden. And somebody like Kiely, who was missing and then he was found in a disturbing circumstance, it's human nature to want to know why. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, there's a line. Some people cross that line, but the vast majority don't. So I don't want to hear anyone, any family member, and I have complete empathy with these grieving parents. I do. I've been there. I am there. But please be realistic what you see on social media and what you can expect from social media, because social media can be a huge force for good. So don't tar the entirety of social media with the same brush.
Remember the three gates that all words should flow through. Is it kind? Is it true? Is it helpful? I implore you to remember that there is honor in silence and there is kindness in minding your own business.
She said it nicely, but I find that very condescending. I'm going to say it. I find that condescending. If we minded our own business, if social media had collectively minded our own business and nobody had talked about Kiely, nobody had assisted in searching for her, nobody had raised awareness, and ultimately, if everybody just minded their own business and let law enforcement get on with it, Kiely would still be 14 feet under, dead, decomposing unceremoniously in an undignified, horrible fashion in her vehicle at the bottom of Prosser Reservoir. It was social media that found Kiely, not law enforcement. And if we'd minded our own business, Kiely would still be there. If supporters of Adventures with Purpose had not hounded those guys and said, please go and find Kiely, they wouldn't have found her. They wouldn't have been there. It was social media that brought Adventures with Purpose to Prosser Reservoir. And it was Adventures with Purpose who found Kiely. And it's YouTubers that are bringing up Kiely's belongings. Kiely's father wants them to. Kiely's father is there. Where are you, Lindsay? Where are you?
You are talking about the death of my child.
I know, and my heart goes out to you. But again, do not tar all social media with the same brush. There are the wild speculations, the wild theories. There are people who will point fingers, unnecessarily, the wrong people. But overall, it's a force for good. And this case proves this beyond any other. It was YouTubers that directed law enforcement to Gabby Petito by, Red White Bethune, just driving by with a dash cam on and finding Gabby's van. But in this case, it was social media who were a force for good, who got Adventures with Purpose moving, who donated to Adventures with Purpose, who gives them the resources that they can carry on this great work. And law enforcement did not have the skill, they did not have the expertise to find Kiely, but Adventures with Purpose did, and she has never thanked them. She has never thanked them. Why not? If that was me, and I know everyone grieves differently, But if that was me, I would be at the front of a campaign to raise as much money as possible for Adventures with Purpose and groups like them who go out, funded by donations, assisting law enforcement with skill, expertise, dignity, and find people who are lost. The same goes for other groups like EquiSearch. There are a multitude of other search and rescue organisations that work tirelessly on donations in their own time, finding the missing and bringing people back to their families. And Kiely has been brought back to you, Lindsay, because of social media. And I think you're putting your trust in the wrong people. I do. I really do.
It's time to let our children mourn their friend quietly, peacefully. I hope you can find other, more beautiful and helpful ways to spend your time and remember Kiely. Call your mom. Take a walk. Pick up a new hobby. Please know we got this.
Do you, though? Do you? What does that even mean? And again, it sounds to me condescending. Call your mom. All right, I'll call her. Take a walk. Yes, I do every day. Got lots of hobbies beyond social media, beyond YouTube. But for some who've got the skill, who've got the know-how, they've got the capacity to find the lost and bring them home to their families, powered by social media. Lindsay, you need to be thanking social media. Yeah, ignore the wild speculations, right? Take that on the chin. You need to be thanking social media for bringing your baby home, for bringing her home to you. And what have you got? What have you got? And I really hope that you're not destroyed by what is to come. I understand that if this gets ruled an accident, then people are probably still going to dig and speculate for a while at least until another case comes along. And I understand that it might be easier for you to think that this was just a tragic accident rather than thinking that Kiely's last moments were fear, terror at someone else's hand. That's very hard to take. And it might be easier to think that she just died in a tragic accident. But what if she didn't? What if your trust is wrongly posed, and the people that you're condescending, the people that you're deriding, and then you're doing it in a nice way, but still are the people who have helped and the people who want justice for Kiely. If justice is needed, if this really was foul play, and there's so many red flags that Lindsay is ignoring. I don't know about the rest of her family, but it seems to me that Lindsay is ignoring. And she's putting her trust in the wrong people, in my opinion.
Let her rest.
And she is now resting. She's now resting in the arms of her family. And she wouldn't have been if it hadn't been from social media. If it hadn't been for Adventures with Purpose, she'd still be at the bottom of the lake. And the teens that she's put so much trust in, some of them are out there posting videos of parties that they're doing right now, and they've not learnt a thing. So, I don't know, you guys. I'll finish with the case of Skylar Nice. Look up the Skylar Nice case. Now, I'm not saying that this case is the same as that Kiely was deliberately murdered. I'm not saying that. We don't know that. In the Skylar Nice case, Skylar's mother put a lot of trust in the girls, that eventually it came out that they were the ones that murdered her. And I really hope that Lindsay isn't going to experience the same fate. And she's just too trusting, and she's grieving, but she's placing blame in the wrong place. She really is. But guys, that's my 2 penneth for what it's worth. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I've been Michelle. Hope you're well. See you in the next video. Goodbye from Miss Tillington and Miss Cassie Springer. I'll see you very soon. Bye, guys.